Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys? I'm so happy to be here with you today. As always, help me out. Give me a like, a comment, share my video, and definitely subscribe so that you can get more content. Can you believe that we had 4 weeks of Halloween? How fun was that? If you missed out on my Halloween projects, you can still grab those. They're in playlists by the week. So there's 4 different playlists and each one has 7 videos, or you can go to the individual videos of the projects that you're interested in. If you go to youtube.com/ then the letter C and another slash, then you're going to type in Inky Hands Warm Hearts and it'll take you to my channel. If you go to videos, it'll show all the videos that I have available. And you can check the playlist there as well. So definitely subscribe for more content. I would love to have you as a subscriber to my channel. I have started doing some YouTube lives, and those are Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. So I hope that you will join for that as well. So we are back to the regular kind of stuff. And so we are going to be doing our basic kind of cards. So on Sundays, I introduce a stamp set and then I continue to use it throughout the week. On Monday, I showcase a designer series paper with the stamp set. On Tuesdays, I do a live with that same stamp set. On Wednesday, I case the catalog. So I take a sample out of the catalog and I recreate the sample with the stamp set that I'm using. On Thursdays, I do a 3D item with that same stamp set. And on Fridays, I do a fun fold. So every Friday you can look forward to a fun fold. Thursdays are 3D, and then you can get a variety of ideas with the stamp set. Now on Saturdays, I usually do bonus, and sometimes I do on YouTube, and sometimes it's just on my website. So the website is my hub for everything. So check out inkyhandswarmhearts.com. That's where you'll find all the information that you need. If you guys are still looking for patterns for my PDFs, those are in my email newsletter. So subscribe to that so that you can get access. All right, I guess that we are good to go. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to make this really pretty card with the Fond of Autumn bundle, which is what I've used today. It has a stamp set and dies. I'm going to talk about the dies when I get into those. And then I paired those with the stitch rectangles because I love me some shapes. If you guys know me and have followed me for a while, you know that all the shape dies I am addicted to, and I do purchase those and use those, and you will love them too. So definitely, if you don't own these rectangles, check those out. I love the stitching on them, and that's what got us our stitching on this piece, on our designer series paper. And then on the inside of our card, we also have a stitched rectangle. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna move this stuff out of the way so that we can get started. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and start. So we're gonna start with a piece of soft suede cardstock, and it's 5.5 by 8.5. I've scored it down the 4 1/4 inch mark, which will give me down the 8.5 inch side a half of a sheet. So we're going to join our corners together. I always do that. I put the points together, and then even though it's scored in the center, I use my bone folder and hold those points down so I get a nice burnish. So here is the base of our card. We're going to add one of these rectangles for our first layer. You can see I wanted quite a bit of the soft suede showing, so I used one of the smaller rectangles down. So it looks like I used the second rectangle to get this, and this is a piece of soft sea foam, which is a beautiful color, and that is going to be glued here. I also cut another piece, and this designer series paper is our cottage gingham, and it is beautiful. And I used the third rectangle down, so not the biggest, but the third one down. But I do want to mention that for the inside of the card, I did use the largest of all of the rectangles. So I used these 3 on the outside for this particular card. And this is going to go on the inside of our card, but we won't do that quite yet. All right, so let's go ahead and glue these layers together. And I'm going to use my silicone mat. I always use it when I glue things because I don't like to make a mess. And this is the other side of that cottage gingham DSP. So you have a smaller print on this side and a little bit wider gingham on that side. So most of our designer series paper is double-sided, which gives you lots of options. I love that. All right, so let's go ahead, and there's my neighbor across the street. I think their granddaughter is over because I hear a lot of squealing and fun from her. So if you hear that, I apologize. It never fails. You can never pick the exact right time to record. So I apologize if you hear it. And there is our gingham layer onto our soft sea foam. And this piece of this gingham is in our mint macaron. So now I'm going to attach this to my card base. So again, I'm going to use my silicone mat because I tend to be messy, especially with the wet glue. So when I put it down, I can just assure that if I get anything off, it's going to go onto my mat and not onto my project where I don't want it. All right. Make sure we have the opening on the right side. And now I have to find my center. Excuse me. So what I do is I love the wiggle room that this wet glue gives me, which is why I use it. And I am going to find it. And then once I have, I'm going to go ahead and press it into place. Now, on the inside of our card, we are going to stamp the Acorn stamp. And let me show you the stamp set again. So it includes 11 stamps. You're going to get this main focal. You're going to get an acorn and a leaf and a flower by itself. And then look at these beautiful sentiments. I love the font. And then you get this rolling, scrolling banner, which I think is so pretty. And I've used that on the front. So we have thank you, I'm so fond of you, autumn wishes, just a note, sending many thanks, and happy thoughts of you. So this is a really nice, versatile fall set. And I think you will really enjoy it. So on the inside, we are going to stamp that cute little acorn. So I'm using mint macaron ink, and I'm just going to stamp it in this corner. Make sure I'm nice and inked up. And there he goes. While I have the ink pad out, let's go ahead and stamp our banner for the front. So that's also in the mint macaron, and I'm stamping it on a piece of soft sea foam. And you can see there is the one that I cut for my original card. So we're going to go ahead and ink that up. Just make sure that we have plenty of ink on there. And I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it onto my scrap piece here. Isn't that pretty? Of our banner die. Now, the words for the inside, you're thinking, well, they are curvy. How did you do that? Well, I didn't. Stampin' Up did it for us. So the stamp itself, and I'll show you that in a second. I'm cleaning. I have them both on the same sides. I mean, both on the same block. So this is the banner. And as you look through here, you can see where it says sending many thanks. And you see how it's curved? It's automatically curved that way. Now, I do want to tell you, photopolymer can bend on you. So what I recommend is when you pull it off of the sheet, you don't try and stretch it like this onto your piece, because you literally can stretch this straight, and I'm going to show you. Now, when you look down, you see how that looks straight? So you don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to set it down onto your grid paper, or onto your mat, or whatever you're going to be using, and let it naturally do whatever Stampin' Up has it doing. And then you're going to just bring your block down onto it. And when you do that, you're going to get the curve or whatever shape that Stampin' Up has this photopolymer in. So that works out rather well. All right, so now I am going to go ahead and stamp my words. And they, as you can see, follow this little line of this banner perfectly. So hopefully I'm going to be able to see. I'll stand up if I need to. I have my daughter's bunny in here in my craft room with me today, so he is running around around me in circles right now. So I don't know what he will do. He's so funny. His name is Jasper, and he is adorable. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and line up. And because we can see through these stamps, I love this. So we can line it up with that banner that we stamped and just press that down into place. And I'm just going to run my finger. I'm trying not to rock the stamp. I'm just trying to run my finger over the top to make sure that I have even pressure. And there it is, sending many thanks. So let's go ahead and clean my stamp, and then we're going to die cut that out. So the die cut is this really cool little banner, and the best thing about this die set, oh, wait till I tell you, I'm going to talk about it in a minute, but this banner only fits in one direction. So see, it fits this way. Actually, it doesn't fit this way. You see how it's a little bit off? So if you rotate it, now it fits perfect. Just make sure you have it the right direction. So I'm going to grab my mini machine. I'm going to take a sip of water. When I talk a lot making these videos, my voice gets a little bit hoarse. All right, so we're going to put our plate number 1, and then we have plate number 2, which is our bottom plate. We're going to place our banner over the top and line that up. Just like that. And then we're going to put our other plate on top of this one. And when you use the mini machine, you want to make your stack so that it's staggered. So see how this one goes up a little bit more? They're not all lined up perfectly. So we're going to go ahead and press that through. I'm going to hold on to the machine here and crank it through just like that. And when I pull this off, there's my banner. Turned out pretty good. So let's put that down. We can put our machine away. I'm going to put this die back onto my magnet sheet. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this die set, because the next part is our floral area, which is right here. And I've done stamping and die cutting of that ahead of time. So I'm going to explain it to you when it's time. Let's go ahead and glue the inside of our card where we stamp that little acorn, get that out of the way, and then we can start finishing the front of our card now that we have that cute little banner cut. Isn't it so cute? I love that it's curvy like that. I think it's cute. All right. So this one, it has about a little over 1/4 of an inch, I guess. But you want to just try and get it as straight as you can and lined up. And there we go. So let's close our card. So now we're going to do this outside. So when you stamp this stamp, here's our stamp. This is the image. Now these are reduced at 90%, so it's not the exact size of this one. It's much bigger. But it's one whole piece, and you have a die to cut the entire piece out, and you would line it up like so once you've stamped your image, okay? But the genius who designed this stamp set, I call them genius because I just think it's amazing, also gave us a second die. And when you place this onto your piece, you see how it has these lines that go through it? So it divides the floral from the leaf with the acorns from the leaves that have the berries. And so what it does is you can look on the image and see how they're kind of separated. They're not connected. There's kind of real thin channels in between the floral section, the section with your acorns, and your section with your berries. What they did was you can separate them, and I'm going to show you. Let me put my die back on my plate here. So when I stamped this, I stamped it with this same stamp all down at once, and then I colored it in. Now when I colored it, I'll show you what I used. For the flowers, I used Pale Papaya, light and dark, and when you buy your blends, they come in a light and a dark, so you get both colors. And then I used Mint Macaron, which is the darker green of light and dark. And then I used Soft Seafoam, which is the lighter green. And then the last color that I chose was Soft Suede. And I used that to do the acorns. So when I stamp the image and I cut it out with that die that separates the sections, okay, here it is. I got my floral section. I have to do it backwards because the way I have it glued to my piece, okay? Here is my acorn section. And here is the section with the berries. So how smart were they to not only let us cut it as one unit, but let us cut with one die and get 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So here they are, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, or you can use it as a whole unit. So I cut mine separate. I used that die. And I know I'm explaining a lot, but I want you to understand, if you were to purchase this set, how it actually works. So my focal piece is going to be this. It's our largest piece, and I'm going to lay this one first and figure out where I want it to fall on my piece. Now I'm going to pop all of these up. So I will be using dimensionals and mini dimensionals. So I'm going to start with the large ones. And I'm just going to place them all over this piece. Let's put one there. Now I'm going to need to move to the smaller because there's some small sections that I want support on, but those big ones are too big to give me support all the way down to the little tiny spots, which is why we have minis and regular dimensionals, right? So here is another small area, because see, it has that little cutout. If I put a big one, you'll see it. All right, so that should be good enough. I might put one more small one right here. Oh, there's the bunny making noises. Jasper, Jasper. Okay, so I'm not going to glue this down yet. I'm just going to place it. I'm going to figure out where I want it to go and how I want it to look and how I want it angled on here. Okay, now this flower section is going to be next. And I decided to lay it like this because I wanted it to come onto the side and up. And I really like it here. Well, part of it is going to be laying on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold that together and flip it over and see how I can see what's laying down and what's exposed. So the parts that are exposed, that are not overlapping, we're going to put the dimensionals on those parts. Jasper. Sorry, guys. I told you, he loves when I'm in here talking and filming videos. Jasper. Behave yourself, mister. All right, so we're almost done. So there's that. You have plenty of support right there. So now I'm going to go ahead and flip this back over again. And we're going to figure out where we want to put our last piece. And we're going to do the same kind of thing. We are going to go ahead and figure out how we want to place this and how we want to do it, what we want to go about doing. Sorry guys, I'm trying to film my video and keep the bunny out of mischief, because there's something about me talking in my videos that he just loves, and he decides that he needs to do mischievous things when I'm filming. So generally I don't have him in here when I'm filming, but today is the day that he's in here and I'm filming. I apologize if I sound far away. I did walk a little bit away from the camera. Okay, so the last two pieces we're going to do the same, only I'm going to take this smaller piece and it's going to be tucked under. So I really only need some small ones under this leaf here, and then down on this corner because it's going to stick up and out. Let's see. One there and maybe one for support there. I think the rest is going to be tucked. Yep. All right. And then the last one is going to be tucked in this bottom section. So I have to figure out how it's going to lay. It looks like I need some help on this section here that runs like on the outer edge. So we're going to put a mini on this corner and one on each of these leaves. So I'm grabbing a few minis and I'm going to put them down at the same time. There's one. We'll put one here and then we'll put one here for support, and let's see if that's good. So we're going to go right like that. I think I'm going to lay it this direction. Oh, I love that. Okay, so now I'm ready to attach all of my pieces together. So I'm going to start with the two that are underneath, which are the small areas. I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool and I'm going to pull the backs. You guys know how I love to pull the backs off with the Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to tuck this piece right here where I think that it's going to look really good. Okay. Now let's tuck this one. Then we'll work on our acorn section. You can see that I'm not pulling these off until it won't pick up any more of them for me. This is the last one. And of course, now they're coming off on me. All right. So here they are. Into the trash they go. All right, and then this one's going to get tucked in like this. I love it. Kind of down like that. All right, now we're going to glue this one. So let's move our flower out of the way and let's take the backs off of our main piece, which is the largest one. You can see how easy it is to remove these dimensionals with the Take Your Pick tool. Okay, so now we have to lay it so that it fits and kind of cups this little section. Looks like right about there. I love that. I'm gonna actually move it down a little, I think. I want it a little over and down. So right, there's no dimensional, they're good. Okay, I just had to test it out. How does that look, guys? I think it looks good. Let's show that little berry a little bit. All right, now comes our flowers. Let's pull the backs off of them. And then the last thing is just to attach our cute, our cute little banner. All right, so this is going to go this direction. It's kind of filling in this little hole that we have here. So I'm just going to overlap my piece. You can still see my... So see, by having that, you can fill whatever size area you want by not having it all one piece and having to keep it in one shape or to fussy cut the end. So this piece is the banner. We're going to kind of glue it right there, right along that piece. Let me grab my mat. I love this little silicone mat. Again, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you're liking the video. And there will be a playlist for this stamp set as well. I have playlists for most of my stamp sets that I have done videos for. And to me, it just helps you guys to have lots of ideas for the stamp sets that you purchase from me. It's kind of my way to say thank you for purchasing stamp sets from me. I love to give you lots of bang for your buck. Okay, so there's my words. And then the final step is going to be these gorgeous embellishments, and we're using the Fine Sparkle Adhesive Back Gems, and you can see they have 4 colors. I'm going to use this Pale Papaya color, and I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool again, only this time I'm going to use this end of the Take Your Pick tool, and it has putty on the end, and I'm just going to pull these pieces off and attach them onto my card. I think that turned out awesome. All right, and let's put my embellishments back into their little plastic so they don't get caught up on each other. I kind of do this when they're in my drawer. I have them all stacked side by side, and so having them in plastic keeps them from sliding off of my sheet. So this is the Fine Sparkle Adhesive Back Gems. And the stamp set that I used was Fond of Autumn. I used the whole bundle. I'm going to give you some dimensions now for everything. And I already gave you the colors. So this piece of soft suede was 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. This soft sea foam layer, I used a piece that was about 3 3/4 by 5 to die cut that piece. And then for the pattern paper, I used a piece that was about 4 by 5 1/4 inches to die cut the inside soft sea foam. And then for the DSP layer, I used a piece that was 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And then I just used scraps of basic white to stamp my main image. So a piece that was big enough for this stamp. I think I used a 1/4 sheet of cardstock, and I only needed about half of that to get this in there. So 1/8 of a sheet of cardstock. So a 1/4 sheet, I cut it down the long ways and I cut it across the short way. And then I have 4 pieces. And of one of those 4 pieces, I only needed half of it to do this one. And then soft sea foam was just a scrap. You guys saw, I just grabbed a scrap out of my drawer and I was able to get both of these banners out of that scrap. The blends that I used was Pale Papaya, Mint Macaron, Soft Sea Foam, and Soft Suede. And all of the items that I used are going to be linked in the description below, so do check that out. I really appreciate you guys being here. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And check out my website, inkyhandswarmhearts.com, where you will find projects that are not on YouTube, also with this stamp set. I hope to see you back on my website. Please subscribe onto my channel, and thank you for being here. This is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping!